you are operating through a framework where you have money demand, and you assume that it is stable. This relationship between money and prices is stable. Now, all these are assumptions. But as the economy goes through changes, as you start introducing credit cards, as you start introducing even mobile money, the relationship between the quantities and the prices changes. And it is extremely difficult for the central bank to track these changes in this relationship. Okay? The second one is that you assume the relationship is stable. But as you go through all these innovations, this same relationship is not stable. So it becomes extremely difficult using quantities. We usually say in economics that there is a breakdown in this relationship between the quantities and the prices. So you find that a number of the central banks are making the transition from using quantities to inflation targeting. I know many of you sometimes ask us, what is our influence on interest rates? What can the central bank do about interest rates? Okay? Because we were using quantities, we would assume that as the central bank, for example, mops out liquidity, definitely the treasury bill rates will go up, and that will have an influence on the lending rates. Okay? But as the rates also come down, we would always expect that the commercial banks would respond and reduce their lending rates. But these are all expectations, and they do not hold each and every time. Now, because of that, we have decided to move away from these quantities, because these relationships are not stable, because these relationships keep on changing, to what we are calling, or what is called, inflation targeting. So we will be using a price-based framework, as opposed to a quantity-based framework. Now, how will this operate? This price-based framework. The central bank will continue having projections of inflation. So that would be number one. Two, on a monthly basis, we will come up with what we are calling the central bank rate. And this will be announced to the public. Apart from giving you a number, we will produce a report, a monthly report, that will explain the basis of that number. For example, if we gave you a number of 11%, we will have a detailed discussion, not only of monetary developments, but also of real sector and external sector developments. Okay? It will be a comprehensive report, and at the end of the day, we will give you a number, the basis of which will be supported by this report. So it will be announced. What shall we do then? During that period, we will have a range. Whenever the interest rates hit the outer range, it will be a signal for us to take action. If we feel that the liquidity conditions out there are very tight, that means that the banks have pushed the rates in the market, the short-term rates in the market, to hit the upper end, we will supply liquidity. If the signal is that there is too much liquidity out in the market, it will be a signal for us to mop out excess liquidity from the market. So we will be, with this rate, we'll be sending a clear signal to the public. We'll be sending a clear signal to the market. Okay? So if the rate was 11, and the next month we announce a rate which is higher, it is a signal that we want to tighten liquidity. So your job will be to observe this rate. Is it an increase, and what is the signal from the central bank? Or is it a decrease, and what is the signal? And why is the central bank reducing the rate? We also expect that all the other rates, this is an expectation, that all the other rates in the market will be adjusting as we adjust this central bank rate. Historically, we have announced a bank rate. That is the rate at which we lend to commercial banks. Historically, we've announced this. It has been linked to the 91-day Treasury bill, plus a margin. It was linked to the 91-day Treasury bill, plus a margin. The rate we are going to announce will not be linked to the 91-day Treasury bill. We are now going to link this rate at the short end of the market. Okay? At the short end of the market, that is 7-day rate, interbank rate. So the first rates you will be looking out in terms of comparisons will be to say the central bank has announced a central bank rate of 11. You go out and look at the interbank rates. How do they respond to this central bank rate? Have the banks correctly read the signal from the central bank? So we will be, through this, sending very clear signals, as opposed to a discussion which was based on quantities. Oh, central bank is mopping out, central bank is injecting liquidity. This time around, we will have a number. It will carry a very strong signal to the market that these are our intentions in terms of mopping out liquidity or injecting liquidity. We also expect that the public, okay, once they get this number, once they get the analysis by you people, okay, will also behave in accordance with the signal from the central bank.